Hi, MJ friends. Welcome to the It's All for Love podcast. I'm Cheryl Mazza, the healing dancer, your host. This podcast is all about Michael Jackson and how he continues to inspire love in the world and inspires us to be our best selves. In this episode, I'm speaking with Lisa Green from Orlando, Florida. Lisa talks about how Michael inspires us to be better people. We also discuss how Michael was such a resilient person and how he constantly faced adversity and kept going. He always stood up for himself and spoke his truth while continuing to help others, even when the world was so unkind to him. So I hope that you enjoy this episode with Lisa. I really enjoyed speaking with her and hearing her Michael Jackson story. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And feel free to comment and also let us know how you liked the episode. If you are listening on any other podcast platform, please subscribe there, and I would absolutely love it if you would leave a positive review. I am always looking for more guests to be on this podcast. So if you are interested in telling your Michael Jackson story and talking with me, I would absolutely love to chat with you about that. So please reach out. You can reach me on the It's All for Love podcast on Instagram or Facebook, or you can email me at mjitsallforlove@gmail.com. Thank you for listening and watching. It's All for Love. Today we have Lisa from Orlando, Florida with us on the It's All for Love podcast. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, Cheryl. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Lisa is originally from North Central rural Pennsylvania, and she's been married for 19 years with her two dogs. She has been an animal caretaker for 20 years. I love that. And she currently works at Disney's Animal Kingdom. That's awesome. And she can't remember a time when she wasn't a Michael Jackson fan. So I can definitely relate to that too. Welcome again. And I love that you work with animals. That is so amazing.
Yes, I love it too. It's a passion of mine for sure, and definitely something Michael and I had in common. Our love for animals, and that's one of the things that I loved so much about him is his passion for animals and for the environment. So I felt very connected to him in that way too.
I think that's all amazing. So I always like to start out with tell me your Michael story. When did he strike you in the heart, or when did you notice it? I know you've always been a fan as long as you can remember, but is there a certain time or something that happened?
So I thought long and hard about that question. And I remember there being almost like snippets or pieces. Like I remember being a little girl sitting on the ground because, like, at that time the TV had legs and it was low. And I remember sitting on the ground watching this magical, sparkly man, that would come and dance and glide like he was almost like flying or gliding backwards across the floor, and he would just spin forever, and everything was sparkly and magical about this man. And I just remember being mesmerized. I would hold my breath so that I didn't miss anything. And so I definitely remember little flashes like that. I remember seeing him when he won all the Grammys for Thriller. I distinctly remember that blue sparkly outfit that he was wearing, that top, that jacket with like the gold sash across it.
Yes.
I remember that very clearly. Um, but I really feel like, aside from those little snippets and things, because my parents weren't really into Michael Jackson. They listened to music, but they weren't like up on it, and I lived in a very rural place in Pennsylvania. So there just wasn't a lot of exposure to that sort of stuff. And I'd hear his songs on the radio, but I don't think that I had the awareness that the sparkly man on TV was the music that I liked when songs would come on the radio. Like, I don't think I was connecting the two. And it wasn't until Dangerous, I think that was really the turning point for me. When Dangerous came out, that's when I was like all about Michael. But even before then, like, I definitely had started. I remember finding my mom's, it was like a Maxell cassette tape, that she had recorded off of somebody else. And it had all the Thriller songs like handwritten on there, side A, side B.
Yeah.
Um, and I would put my ear up to the speaker and I would listen to everything. Like I actually had to wind the tape back in a couple of times and straighten it out because it would fold over itself because I listened to it so much. But I think it was right around the time, maybe end of Bad, Dangerous, I think was like my moment where I was like, holy cow, this guy's amazing.
Oh, I think Dangerous is actually my favorite album. It was just that time. I don't know what
Yes.
it was about it. Yeah. So I can relate.
Yes, that's a great album.
Yeah. So do you have any like moments from that era that come to mind? Like either
I,
seeing him or
I do actually. So I was never fortunate enough to see him in person, and I can touch on that a little bit later. But there were definitely, so one of the things that I did was I sent him a birthday card every year for his birthday on August 29th. And I would spend like an eternity at the store, my poor mom, picking out like the perfect card. And I distinctly remember I only sent him a gift once. I always just sent him a card, but I picked out this card. It was like by the World Wildlife Federation, WWF, had a picture of two tigers on it because I knew that he liked tigers. So I was like, here we go. It described them on the back, and I was like, he might like to know a little something about it. And I made him 3 friendship bracelets.
oh my God.
And I sent that to him. And so, like, that's definitely a moment that I remember like it was yesterday.
I love that. Oh, I'm
It's
sure that
probably like
loves
10.
oh, you were what?
I said I was probably like 10, maybe right around that age.
Oh, no, that's great. I love that. I love that so much. I'm sure I know
Yeah.
that he would keep everything that he would get. At least that's the story that I've heard. I don't know, for sure, but I feel
I
like he had like a room in like Neverland where he kept all the gifts or something like that that he got from fans. I don't know if
I
I'm
that too. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember hearing that as well. And it's funny because although I never got a response from him personally, because let me tell you, that's what I would be talking about. But I ended up getting like a response from the Michael Jackson fan club, and they sent me like a card. Like I was a card carrying member of the Michael Jackson fan club. It was a red card, like a plastic credit card looking thing. I still have it attached to my welcome letter. So yes, those
Oh,
are some things that I remember very vividly.
yeah. Oh my gosh. That's such an exciting moment as a kid.
Oh my
Listening to
goodness,
Michael
it
Jackson.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
love
I
that.
used to get special permission to watch like the VH1 Michael Jackson weekends or like the MTV weekends because, I was a kid. I wasn't supposed to sit in front of the TV all weekend long. But for those, I would get permission and I would sit there with the VHS tape, making sure that I was able to record every moment and cut out the commercials. And so,
Yes.
yeah.
I did the same thing kind of. I remember having these VHS tapes still like when I was in college. And when they would have the
Yeah.
Michael Jackson weekends, I recorded them and then I took them to college with me and I would watch them like over and over again. Well, he was my inspiration, to become a
Yeah.
dancer. So and anytime
Oh,
I watch Michael, like I'll just like put on his videos. It's just like my creative juices start flowing and I start getting like more creative and putting more stuff out in the world, like this podcast. So
yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. So tell me, was there anything that he inspired you to do in your life or
Yeah, he definitely. So I played the piano pretty much my whole life. And so I really admired his dedication to his art and how much he cared about that. And the more I got to know, so it started off there. And then it's like peeling back the different layers of Michael, like you see the sparkly magic man
Hmm.
and he's an amazing dancer. He definitely inspired me to take up dance, because I would sit there and just, try to copy his videos as best I could and, rewinding and slowing it down and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, like we had music in common. The more I listened, the more I was just enthralled by him. He inspired me to take up dance. He definitely, I don't know that he inspired my love of animals and the environment. I was just excited that we had that in common.
Yeah.
And that's something that we always had. But one thing that he continually amazes me about is, everybody says who's met him or worked with him how kind he is, how humble he is, how gentle he is. And, you could almost get the impression that Michael is a bit meek or weak by like the way he talks and those adjectives. But Michael was so strong. He
Mm.
was strong. He was resilient, and that is something that I try to remember. Like those times where it had felt to me, being a Michael Jackson fan or just in life that the whole world was talking about me, right? Because we went from Michael is wonderful and it's cool to be a Michael fan to it's not cool to be a Michael fan. And I always was. I just was. I always loved him. And I'm like, you know what? If he can stand up and stick up for himself and speak his truth when the whole world is talking about him and not in a positive way,
Mm.
if he can be strong and resilient and stand up to that, I can handle whatever comes my way too. So I try to really remember how strong he is. And what's amazing about him is his compassion for humanity. Like people were not kind to him. He did
Right.
not have an easy life. He, like Tommy said, could have really used like some good friends in his life. Maybe he had them. Maybe he did. I don't know. I would have loved to have been one of them. But yeah, like and he also somehow managed this amazing talent, this this big presence in a way that he made people feel comfortable working with him. Like that would be so intimidating. He could have been cocky, he could have been conceited, he could have been all of those things, but he wasn't. And he wasn't intimidated by other people's talent. He wanted to bring their talent up. He wanted to give them those moments to shine. Like when you watch This Is It, or you watch what is it, The Greatest Night in Pop.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Yep.
Lionel Richie tells the story of how We Are the World came to be, and just learning those things about him, learning that all the adversity that he faced, like he still had the strength to keep going and to spread his message of being a humanitarian, being compassionate. Like, what artist is out there today writing songs like Heal the World or Man in the Mirror or Earth Song and continually bringing awareness, raising money at times, helping people when people were so unkind to him, like I have goosebumps.
I do
So
too.
yeah, he inspires me to be a better person, simply said.
Yes, exactly. No, I just love everything you said, and especially when you were talking, not especially, but all of that you were saying, but when you were talking about how he inspires you, like how he just always spoke his truth and was just always like himself. He was such a humble person. Almost like, he just, well, the podcast is called It's All for Love, right? That's exactly what he was and still is love.
Yes.
And that's, to me, like that's all of that you just said. That is the energy of love, of just like really encompassing being love, because he was always, no matter what was thrown at him, no matter what hate was thrown at him, he still loved.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do. Like that is hard to do, but he did it. And that's what he instills in all of us as fans, as followers of Michael. Like what I think a lot of people don't understand. Like everyone's like, why are you so obsessed with Michael Jackson? Well, that's why. Because
Yeah.
he inspires us to be a better person. He inspires us to love in the face of hate. Like how I can't, like I have chills, I want to cry. Like I can't
I
explain
know. It's all those emotions.
yeah. Like like how can you not love someone like that and just want to, be in their presence or be in their energy? And even though I didn't have a chance or anything to meet him either. So, but we're still so like just in love with him. And I don't mean like, that, but it's just nobody else has that presence. Nobody. And nobody ever will. Maybe
Yeah.
Elvis had that before him. Elvis has that kind of presence too. I don't know a lot about Elvis, but I was captivated by him a little bit when I was little. But Michael, my gosh, like
Yeah.
just
Michael. And it's nice to talk to somebody who you can just say his name and like it just like you had said before lights you up. It
yeah,
does. It fills you
yeah,
with love, just thinking
exactly.
about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to just a side note, like, I don't, if you ever have like bad days at work, right? You're just like, man, this day was shit. Like, so that was kind of like my day today, but I was like, you know what? I get to go home and talk about Michael with Lisa. I'm so excited to do this. There's like an example. He just lights me up. Like I'm just like, yes, I have this to look forward to.
Oh. He knew to set it up. He arranged it at this time because he knew you were gonna have a shit day. Thanks,
Yes.
Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Oh man. Well, do you ever have times where he kind of just shows up in your life? I call them Michael Jackson synchronicities, where it's just like, hey, Mike, thanks for the message or thanks for whatever.
Yes. And I will tell you my story now because it kind of goes hand in hand with this. But I never had a chance to see him in concert. Obviously would have loved to, but it's just, I didn't really have the means. I was a kid and then he stopped touring and doing concerts and I thought, okay, like I'm never going to get the opportunity to see him. Well, then he announces this is it
Mm.
over in London. And I remember having like a full on like cry and saying to my husband, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be impossible. Because at first he was only doing 10 shows. I was like, it is going to be impossible. Do you think we even have a chance? I feel like we've got to try. I said, I don't care if I have to, work 2 other jobs and pick up overtime shifts like crazy. Um, and my husband is in IT. So he basically set up a command center, not even kidding you. And we stayed up all night because of the time change of when the tickets went on sale over in London. Stayed up all night, had 2 computers going. He did like a rehearsal with me. We got tickets. We got the VIP thriller tickets
Wow.
to his, what would have been his first show. And he sadly passed away 2 weeks before we would have seen him, and everything was in motion. Time off work. We're meeting another couple over in London and traveling with them. We have hotels booked. We were going to Paris. Everything is in motion. And it's like, what do you do?
Right.
Of course, devastated doesn't even begin, to describe that feeling, like to be so close and then to have it be taken away and have him be taken away at the same time, like gone from the world, like forever. It was devastating. So we end up going. We end up going to the O2
Mhm.
where the show would have been on the night it would have been. And there were thousands of other Michael fans. There was all of, the memorials set up to him and everybody was singing and it was just this beautiful moment with other people that could appreciate exactly how I was feeling in that moment because, you know, there's no people like Michael people, I don't think. Where it's indescribable, that feeling that he gives you. And I felt his presence very strongly there, and it breaks my heart for him that he didn't get to do that, because he wanted to do that. He wanted to have one more go. He wanted to show his kids what he was about. He wanted to show his fans that he was making a comeback and be there one last time, and he didn't get that chance. And that just, it kills me how it all went down. It breaks my heart. But today, song will pop up on the radio and it'll be a Michael song, which is exciting, and my husband will be like, "You have all of his music. Like, why is that exciting?" I was like, "Because I think it's like a surprise visit from him,
Yes.
especially in the moments when the Michael song you need, like if you're having a shit day at work and
Yes.
Scream comes on, you're like, yes!" Especially because that's a song that you don't hear very often. So
Right.
you definitely know you're getting a little bit of help from MJ, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think those little moments, and like bringing me together with people like you, people like Tommy, I feel like those are the times where he still is having influence in my life and touching me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. He's very good at bringing us together, and it's like
he
it's,
is.
you know.
Yes. And I mean, Thrill the World, that is such a great event. I know Tommy talked about it, but it is so exciting, to go from being that little girl in the basement learning and dancing Thriller all by myself, thinking how much fun would this be to have other people to do this with,
Yeah.
and to see it done worldwide. That's so cool. It's so exciting and so much fun. So
How many
yeah.
times have you done it?
So I have done it. This will be my fourth coming up.
Okay.
So the first time, I hadn't heard about it. I couldn't believe it had been going on since 2006. Where have I been? Like, how did I not know? But I didn't find out about it until 2017.
Okay.
Uh, we were living in Seattle at the time, and they have a huge, I mean, we're talking like 400 people, a
Wow.
huge, like, Thrill the World event there.
Yeah.
And that was my first time, and that was super fun. Well, then we moved back here. We drive all the way to Jacksonville because that's where we found the closest event to us. And there's like 10 of us, but you know what? We still rocked it. We still did it. So it was like a really big difference, but it was sort of cool to see, all the people from around the world and how different it is, and to do it in Jacksonville, so appropriately named. That was pretty cool. And then I did it here with Tommy last year.
Oh,
So, and there was probably 20 of us, and I know that we're growing, and I can't wait to do it again in a month. So that'll be fun.
yes. Oh gosh, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it, the Thrill Orlando, because well, all of it, obviously, but yeah, Tommy, I know, has been growing that for what, the last 4 years, and it just gets bigger every year. So he
It is a
inspires,
labor of love. Yes.
yeah, he inspires me. I will start it in New Jersey next year. So yes.
Oh, cool. Are you going to do it anywhere in New Jersey this year or close
Not this
by?
year. Not this year. No, it's too late. But too late for me
For
to learn
you.
and then teach other people.
Oh,
So
oh, you
yeah.
don't have to teach it. You can just learn it and go to the event. I have all the confidence you could learn it by now.
Well, there is no event in New Jersey, so I have to be the one to start it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but that's right. I'm putting it out there. I'm starting it so this way. Everyone listening can, and you can be my accountability partners. I mean, like, you have to do it. There's no
I
back
know.
now.
Yeah, there were two ladies in Canada. It was just the two of them last year, and they did it. And so good for them. It's really cool to see the Thrill the World video that I guess the admins of the event put this together, and it must take forever, but they slice all the different
Oh, okay.
groups from around the world
Yeah.
for the full Thriller video. So it's like, you've got these people dancing with the falling leaves behind them. You've got us in Orlando like melting off all of our makeup because we're sweating, palm trees behind us. And then there were these two ladies in Canada and it was in the snow.
Oh my
There
goodness.
was snow on the ground, but they were there doing it. So
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to learn more about it and to do it with you guys, even though we won't be in the same state. But someday I will be
hey,
there. I'm coming to Orlando to do it with you all.
do
Yes.
it.
If you had to pick a favorite Michael Jackson song, what would it be?
So I gave this a lot of thought, and I agree with all the comments about how, gosh, it kind of depends on what mood you're in, right? You know, like whether you've got Scream or you're feeling sexy and Dirty Diana is good for you or, you know, whatnot. But Billie Jean,
Oh,
Billie Jean,
classic.
that is my favorite. If I had to pick one, which is really tough to do, it's Billie Jean.
Yes, yes. Oh, Billie Jean. That is the jacket that I want. Billie Jean. I will get one. I have one, but it's like, a cheap Halloween costume.
Yeah,
But
no, it needs to be the full sparkle. That
I
jacket's
need it to
great.
like be form fitting, kind of how it was with Michael. So I will get one of
Yeah.
those. Yeah. I love the sparkle.
Yes, everything about him was just sparkly and magical. That's my earliest memory of Michael.
Exactly. Exactly. My favorite music video.
Smooth Criminal, for sure. Full version. I love just the beginning of that where he's in that gangster suit and he flicks that quarter. Ooh, it goes all the way and just lands right in the jukebox and you could hear a pin drop and then he starts. Like it's just amazing.
Ugh.
So my dogs are actually one of my dogs is named after that video. She's Annie.
Annie, are you okay?
Yep, Annie, are you okay? And then Jackson, of course. That's
Yes.
an easy one. Yeah.
Oh,
So I have Annie and Jackson.
I see it in the background. Which one is that behind you?
That's Jackson. Jackson.
Hi, Jackson.
Who's that? Who's that? Say hi.
Oh, look how cute. Oh my gosh. So cute.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
All right, big question here. What do you want the world to know about Michael Jackson?
I know that the world knows what an amazing musician and songwriter and dancer and performer, just overall entertainer he is. But what I would really like them to know is I would like them to remember that he's a person. You know, he had feelings. He was a father. He was a brother. He was a friend. He was a son. He was all of those things. In addition to that big presence, that big persona that he had. And I mean, he was a savvy businessman.
Mhm.
He had so many different hats that he wore. And I would just like people to realize that he was a person. And the more I learn about that person through reading like his autobiography, through, you know, other books and other people's, accounts like Lionel Richie of what it was like to work with him. Like these are the people that knew him. Or you can get it straight from Michael's mouth and read his autobiography. Just really, if you're like, just get to know the person, And I try to know him as much as I can. And every time I pull back a layer, it's just another surprise. Like I remember learning, I was like, wait, all those sounds, that was you beatboxing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like just little things, or knowing that he did his entire bad tour and gave it all to charity.
Right.
Like all the money, all of that money. Every time you learn something, it's just mind blowing. Every time. So I would just encourage people to remember that he's a person, a very kind, generous, loving human being, and, you know, seek out that information because it's really interesting, and it'll end up making you a better person to learn everything that he went through, yet still all that he gave back.
Right. Yeah. And all that he overcame.
Yes, yes. Well said.
How does Michael continue to spread love in your world?
I think just by connecting me to other people that love him as well. And giving me other people to talk to about that and to dance with. And, I'm not like you where I can just go and dance by myself and I don't care what I'm doing or who sees me. I'll dance all day long by myself in my house happily, but I don't have the courage to go out and just do it alone. So, you know, inspiring me to want to seek out people that are also Michael fans, because I'm a bit of an introvert. I would be very happy not seeking out brand new relationships with people, but he inspires me to do that, to find other people that are lit up by him, because it in turn lights me up.
He brings us together.
He does. He does. And, like, as an adult, it's quite easy to just, sit with your circle and your husband and snuggle with your dogs and not seek anything or anybody new.
Yeah,
Um,
I get that.
but, although my husband will go with me to those things, he's not going to be dancing. He's not going to be going to thrill the world. So even if he's there, I'm still doing it alone, which is not fun.
No,
So,
no, it is a lot more fun to dance with others, especially those that are Michael fans. So,
mhm.
well, thank you so much for chatting with me about our favorite person, Michael Jackson. It's always
Thank you
a
for
pleasure.
doing this. Yes, I know it's all for love, but it's a labor of love. It's a lot of work on your part. So thank you.
Yeah. I am honored to do it.